Well, good morning. Good morning to you, Dr. Cheryl. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to our viewers and our listeners for the Winning with Wow radio broadcast on ESPN Richmond 106.1. I am your host, Dr. Danny. And as always, I'm always delighted when we have some phenomenal presence with us. And I will tell you that the guest that we have today, Dr. Cheryl Williamson, out of the big Texas, I'm a hook 'em horns kind of gal. So I'm excited that you are here with us. She's got so much. I mean, when I tell you that she just has a transformational presence, you have truly blessed me, Dr. Cheryl. And, say hi to our guests.
Hello, everybody. Hello, my Dr. Danny. I'm so excited to be here with you. I woke up with just great anticipation of our time today. So thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to an amazing, uplifting conversation that's going to leave people inspired, transformed, and motivated, not just for the day, but for the year.
Wow. So that is, you said everything that I would have asked you in my first outlay. Normally, I want to give you an opportunity to, if we only have people who can listen for a short period of time, what would you want them to walk away from? But you've already answered that. And we have conversation. This is not one of those, this is like, girlfriends sitting on the couch, just help me out. But we do cater to a unique population of entrepreneurs, minorities, and women. And we really want them to understand that this entrepreneurial journey is not necessarily a bed of roses, but it's well worth the journey. Like one of those old hymns say, I wouldn't take nothing for the journey. So that's an exciting thing. But I do want to share a little bit about your background, because I know, being a servant of the Most High God, you have some humility with you. But the truth of the matter is that your story and what we're going to talk about today will bless other people. And so when I was looking through your, some of your background, a multi-best-selling author, an executive producer with a number of films under your name, global business leader, visionary, philanthropist. I want you to talk a little bit about what you do as it relates to your own, individual effort to be a micro lender or a micro grantor or benefactor to startups and entrepreneurs. Your style, your brand, all of that you bring to bear. And these are the gifts and the treasures that you're sharing with us today. I'm excited also about your Cheryl magazine, and I want you to talk about that as well. But what I really, when I get down to it and I think about it, Cheryl, the spirit in which you have been able to do the things that you do, you always pay homage to your creator. So that's an element that I want you to share a little bit about that in terms of what it is that drives you and motivates you, and how do you give back?
The one thing that drives me the most is my desire to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. And so I allow nothing to stand in the way of that. I don't allow people to tell me what I can't do, what it'll never happen for me, because I truly believe that whatever I set my mind to, it will happen. It's happening. I place it out into the atmosphere and I see it happen. And when it happens for me, I want to see it happen for other people. So I take it as my personal responsibility and my duty, not to just create tables for myself, but to create tables for other people. And then in turn, not just create tables, but show them how to create tables and bring other people without feeling like they always have to be the center of attention. And that's what a servant is, Danny. A servant doesn't need the attention on them. They serve and they keep it moving because they know that they will get their accolades, their pat on the back from the Lord. See, I don't seek accolades from man. So when things come to me, that's extra. The awards are extra. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful, but it's not why I do what I do, to get it from other people.
Yeah, that's very uplifting because your success is not on a small level. And the reason I say that is because you have ventured into a number of different areas in the arts, but also on the executive ranks of these things. Can you talk to me a little bit about your journey and how it comes to be that you, this powerful African-American woman, but we don't always get our due. We don't always get into those spaces. It's just like Paul said, we know how to be a base and we know how to abound. But talk to me about those lean days where you were building the relationships and the brand that would later put you in a position that when God opened the door, you could walk through with all of your power, with all of your confidence, with all of your capability.
Absolutely. I am actually a third generation entrepreneur. So I grew up with parents who taught me that anything and everything was possible. I didn't have to be the smartest. I didn't have to have the most degrees, but I did have to have a work ethic. So my work ethic, Dr. Danni, is what has opened doors for me. I have served without asking. And see, we live in a society right now where people feel like, automatically, if I do something for you, you have to do it for me. But what I mastered was serving without asking, because this is what I learned. When you serve well, very rarely do you have to ask. People who saw me in environment serving, those are the same people that came back and said, you know what, I saw you serving at this conference or that conference, and everybody knows you own companies, but you were an example to other people, showing them that you can still serve the best leaders are servants. The best leaders are servants. So as a result of me serving, Danni, it afforded me opportunities to have some of the most powerful women as my mentors. One of my favorite mentors is the only CEO of an NBA team, and that's Cent Marshall with the Dallas Mavericks. Cent saw me serving. I didn't have to ask her, would you mentor me? Would you do this? It was something that she wanted to do because she saw the energy, she saw the drive. And I want to encourage every entrepreneur that's out there listening, make time to serve, make time to give, make yourself available. And I'm not saying that you need to place yourself in position where everybody who sends you a message in your inbox and says, hey, I want you to mentor me, because we have to teach people that there's a difference between a mentor and a sponsor.
Now, wait a minute. Now you're gonna do that, because sometimes people don't understand that, and I look at things in a very similar way. So break it down in terms of your definition of a mentor versus a sponsor, or a cheerleader, or a champion, however you want to define it, because I think that can help some people.
A sponsor is a person who can get you in the room and write the check. They can get you in the rooms that nobody else can get you in. They can get you as a part of the bid, and you don't even know that it exists. Usually your sponsors are CEOs. They're the movers and the shakers that people don't know their name, but their networks are extremely high and their networks are vast. Mentors are people who you can get advice from. They can't necessarily write a check or make a decision at a table that says, give Dr. Danni this deal, but your mentor, you can run ideas by them. You can participate in their conferences. You can attend events with them. They can open up usually smaller opportunities for you. But I want to say this, even with your mentor and your sponsor, you need to make sure that you are not always the taker.
All right.
And see, that's critical. You have to make sure you're not always taking. Even with your sponsors who can purchase or buy anything, it is so critical to have that personal touch. Remember their birthdays, their children's events. Those are the things that your sponsors remember. They might not need you to write a check, but they'll remember that you called and said, hey, Seth, I saw you in Forbes. I'm going to send you the magazine so that you don't have to buy another copy. I want to make sure you have it. Those are the types of things that we need to make sure that we're doing for our mentors and our sponsors so that they can remain our mentors and our sponsors and not feel like it's a one-sided relationship. Because when you do that, it opens up opportunities for Danny then to say, you know what? This sister's not a taker. She is about bringing on and helping other people. So let me open another door for her. And that's where we really grow. Your network truly determines your net worth. There were times, Danny, in the beginning where I didn't have thousands of dollars to get in on a deal. But because my network was so vast, my network came forward with the dollars to help bring me to the table.
Amen. I mean, I love the start and the foundation with a servant heart,
Yes.
because it puts you, like you said, it not only puts you in the room where you're serving, but it puts you in the hearts of people who can, like you said, maybe open a door or provide encouragement or point you in the right direction. And then I love it, this idea, and I'm only repeating it so that people, it can resonate with them, is this idea of remembering to do the small things that matter, to let people know that they've touched you and that you want to touch them, remembering small things. There was a gentleman, when I was first looking at going into corporate America, there was a gentleman who interviewed me for a company, and I had turned that company down and went to another company. But he always called me once a year to see how things were going. He remembered my kids' names. He remembered, if I was working on another degree or something. And consequently, at a later date in life, I mean, many years later, 14 years later, I ended up going working for that company. But it had to do with this man who invested time to say, hey, just checking on you, seeing how things are going. If you ever want to come somewhere, you can come here. I mean, and so it resonates with my spirit. And I hope that our listeners understand that it doesn't take any grand act. It just takes you being authentic and being interested in people's lives and not always trying to be so interesting. You know what I'm saying?
It's about being intentional. And I know that a lot of people use that word a lot lately, but I've been intentional for many years before it became the catchphrase for everybody. And so life is about being intentional conversations, and especially at networking events. Have you ever noticed that people will be talking to you, but their eye contact is someplace else because they're trying to figure out, should I spend my time talking to her? Is that person the person I should be with? And that's part of what I teach young business people. Make eye contact and be focused on the person that you're talking to, because that person in your now many times is the person that gets you to your next, not the person coming in the door.
That's right. And I that is also I love how you share the do's, but then you also try to clarify some of the don'ts. Being present is so important. And there's so many things that are competing for our attention that if I'm talking to someone and I really am interested in talking to them, it throws things off when I respond to every time the phone light up, or if every time, like you said, the door open. Sometimes you just really need to dial it back and be present in the moment. That mindfulness of relationship building is what you take from your network to your net worth. I'm always amazed when I meet very prominent individuals, and they remember small details about the people that they're in the circle with. So these aren't people in their communities. They just may have met them at different conferences. But that tells you that they have a mindfulness when they're interacting. And that goes a long way, because then, like you said before, you're being intentional, you're being authentic, and those things serve you well, just like please and thank you. But I want you to talk a little bit about the different companies that you own. I want you to talk about your magazine and the inspiration for why you did certain deals, what kind of films you wanted to be the executive producer of? Is there a central theme that runs through some of these projects that you have going on now, even with your books? I just want you, for just as long as you want to, talk to me about all these things you got going on.
Okay, I started out with matter of fact, this is my very first book. It's called Words from the Spirit for the Spirit. And I'll tell you, this book came about when I was at a very low point in my life. And the reason I think that this is critical is because when people are on social media and, oh, my life is so wonderful, I'm that business owner that's going to tell you the truth, that every day is not great. There are times where I have felt like, woo, is this for me? And so at this time, my mother-in-law had just passed away from cancer. My husband had just gotten diagnosed with cancer. And I had been diagnosed with supraventricular tachycardia, which is a heart disease. And so I started posting affirmations on Facebook for myself, but posting it out. And people started responding, saying, oh, I needed this. And in my head, I'm like, I just posted this just to post it because I was feeling a certain way. And so one day the Holy Spirit said, I want you to write a book. And I said, I don't know how to write a book. And he said, take everything that I've given you the past 18 months on Facebook, and that's what I want you to put in the book.
Wow.
And so that's where Words from the Spirit for the Spirit came from. This is all the quotes that God gave me during these 18 months. So after I wrote that book, the bug hit me. So then I started writing other books. And then I realized, I said, if I have a story, other people have a story. So then I started writing anthologies. And anthologies are a combination of people that you partner with to share a snippet of their story in order to help people know who they are. And they can write other books and have a brand before they write their own individual book. So I realized, Danny, I said, oh, this is business. Books are business. So I turned anthologies into a very lucrative business. So I have 16 anthologies right now, all best-selling anthologies, and I themed them. I asked the Lord, what do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to help people continue to renew their souls. So all my books are souls, Sold Out, Soul Source, Soulful Prayers, 1 and 2, Soul to Soul, which is a couple's book. And it just built from there. During that time of the books, I realized, I said, you know what? I have a gift. I have a gift that God wants me to deliver to the world. So I said, what else do you want me to do? And he said, I want you to do a play. And I said, I don't know how to do a play. And he said, but do like I always tell you, just stay in a place of expectation. So fast forward, I partnered with someone and we did a play titled Soul Purpose. Soul has a purpose. And I ended up winning Executive Producer of the Year for that play. And after the play, I thought that I was supposed to go on the road. And the Lord said, I never told you that you were supposed to go on the road with the play. I only wanted to see if I could trust you. He said, I'm going to build an empire around books and media. So the next thing that I want you to do is a film. So I said, well, what do I do and who do I connect with? I'm big on relationships. So my childhood friend, Deborah Riley Draper, who is an award-winning filmmaker, 2-time NAACP Image Award nominee, I called her and I said, I have a story I want to tell you and I want to make it into a film. So I went to Atlanta, I met with her. She said, oh my gosh, yes, this is a film. So fast forward, I looked and I said, well, when people started asking me, Dr. Danni, what are you doing? You know, you have books, you have plays, you're doing too much. This is what I realized. The people who tell me that I'm doing too much, they're not doing enough.
Oh, whoa. Shout out to the people who need to get something going on.
Right. And because I'm not asking anybody to buy into my dream. I'm trying to show people what's possible when you live your dream. So I'm not trying to convince anybody that to be a part of my dream. I want to just show people what's possible from a lady who believes that anything and everything is possible. So now fast forward, we move and I do executive produce a film with Deborah Riley Draper titled Illegal Rose, starring Jasmine Guy, which wins several awards at the film festivals. Lo and behold, I invite some people not knowing that they are a part of the directorate of Alpha Kappa Alpha. They're in the audience, they see the film. So fast forward, we meet and I become the executive producer on 20 Pearls, which wins the HBO documentary. HBO.
So I got a chance to view that at, I want to say it was a Founders Day several years ago, maybe in Washington, D.C. I think they showed it or they premiered it in that. That was good work.
So we're up for several other awards. We're excited. And thank you so much for that. So we're excited about where that will take us. And then on top of that, after that film, then I moved forward with a script that I was working on. And now we're in the process of filming. I just hired a director for that film. And then I have another film that I'm working on and a book project that has just taken a life of its own, which is Soulful Affirmations, because I'm never going to give up on books. Because if you think about it, Amazon started with books. In fact, one of my mentors, Paul Brunson, Paul said, you remind me of Jeff Bezos. And I said, in which way? He said, because although Amazon is huge, he never stopped doing books. So he says, Cheryl, he always tells me, he said, never stop doing books. He said, that's your base. That's how you became who you are. And if you think about it, Jeff Bezos still does books. Amazon is growing. People are printing their books through Amazon. And I never thought about that until he said that to me. So for the people who are out there doing different things, always remember what your base was, what brought you to this thing, and then make sure that you are always learning and growing. And you don't have to just do one thing. That's the thing. Don't let people think that you should only do one thing. Be true to who you are as a business owner. So if you want to do books and films and radio, do it and do it well. Do it unapologetically. Do it in excellence. Everything that you do it in excellence and do it for the right reasons. The right reasons. Don't do it to prove anything to anybody other than yourself.
I love how you walk in your power. I love how you talk about, early on we were talking about, building a table. It took me back to when I thought about when Tyler Perry was talking about, so many years we've been vying to get a seat at the table. He just decided to build his own. Yes. And that's what it sounds like, God has placed on your heart. Cheryl, how do people get in contact with you? How do they stay connected to your projects and things? This is, whether it's your socials or whatever, or what's on deck, but how do they follow up with Dr. Cheryl?
I would love for everybody to keep in contact. So for information on Cheryl Magazine, you can go to CherylMagazine.com. Our spring issue will be coming out soon. Our winter issue has Kim Fields on the cover.
Do you not have a copy right there with you that you can show on screen?
I have.
Yes.
Here's the print copy of the cover with Kim Fields. And I will tell you, this magazine started as an 11-page newsletter, and now it's an 112-page printed high-quality magazine. My website is CherylPWilliamson.com, CherylPWilliamson.com. And of course, please follow me on Instagram at CherylPW Speaks. That's CherylPW Speaks, where I am always giving words of encouragement, of motivation. I don't usually like to use the word transformation because, motivation, because motivation is fleeting. I'm more of a transformational speaker, because transformation will make you travel. Transformation will keep you going when there's no money in the bank. Transformation will move you when nobody is patting you on the back, telling you, you go girl. You'll get up every morning and tell yourself, you go girl. So you want to be a transformational thinker. Motivation is fleeting. Transformation is forever. It's kind of like resolution versus lifestyle change. See, resolutions, people use those for like 2 or 3 months, but when you make a lifestyle change, you'll continue to exercise, you'll continue to eat right, you'll continue to write those grants when everybody has turned you down. I wrote 57 grants last year and only 2 of them got approved. But we wrote anyway.
Well, I mean, you've heard it here, folks, from the transformational speaker, the coach, the business executive. Cheryl, you didn't mention something you shared with me the first time we talked, and that is how you are pouring into other entrepreneurs. You have your own entrepreneurial pool of folks who complete applications for funding. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So September of last year, on my 54th birthday, the Holy Spirit told me to give grants to women. So 6 grants, 6 in business, 6 in media, at $540 each. So I placed the information out on Facebook, and I got over 283 responses. So I said, well, Lord, what do you want me to do? He said, go ahead and give these 6, but on the 14th of every month, I want you to give another grant for $540 to go through and help other people. So for a whole year, I did that. And then at the end of this year, I thought he was going to release me and say, you don't have to give. And I'm going to just say this. I thought he was going to say, oh, Cheryl, you don't have to give away your money anymore. But guess what he told me? He said, I thought you told me it was my money.
Woo! He owns it all.
Yes, he said, I thought you said it was my money. So I said, well, it is your money, but I want to keep it. And so he said, well, I want you to give away another 12 grants this year. So place out into Facebook and LinkedIn and get applicants for 2022. And he said, since you're going to be 55 this year, I want you to give away $550 every month of my money that I'm giving to you to give to the people. So I'm like, Lord, I just really want to keep your money this year. I don't want to give away any grants this year. And so, of course, he won. So we process, and I actually have the information right here on my desk. So they're right here.
All of the applicants and the application.
Yep, the eligibility. So this is the stack. So the first one for 2022 will be awarded on January the 14th. And the thing is, I'll tell you, it went beyond the money. So not only did I give them money, I promoted them on all my social media. I meet with every single grant winner and pour into them. So the one that I just gave December 14th, I actually have her on my calendar to meet this week. And I just tell them why I selected them and why I do what I do. And it's been beneficial, because what I found out is most of the people like, oh, I just wanted this opportunity. I follow you on social media all these years. So it was a blessing for them in ways that I didn't even know, because I just see myself as doing what God is calling me to do. I don't see myself as, oh my gosh, I just don't. I'm just so.
I understand that, and I respect that about you. But that's my thought process, is that more so than the amount of the grant, the value of the relationship and the connection that these grantees are receiving, I'm sure will help them to soar to that next level in business. And that's always good. So I'm excited that you are going to be joining us here in the Richmond market in April for our Winning with Women Entrepreneurs Conference. So we kind of teed that up, but we'll definitely have you back again as we get closer to that date. Because I think that Richmond is definitely growing in the areas of the arts and the films and music and all of that. We have great food, we have great people, we have great entrepreneurs. And what the Women's Business Center of Richmond is really trying to do is to codify that, to cultivate and curate people who have done things like you're your own ecosystem, economic development ecosystem. We got all these partners, but you're demonstrating that even on any scale, each one of us has the ability, if it's within our call, to be an ecosystem that spurs on and encourage people to accomplish things that they didn't think they could. So I am so appreciative of the time that you have spent with us here today on ESPN Richmond's radio station 106.1 with the Winning with Wow radio broadcast. And so we're gonna tap out now, but guys, more to come from Dr. Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.